Hey everyone, sorry for the lack of video content over here for the last few months. We were like super busy getting floaters finished, which you can watch on my channel if you're into silly spaceship animations. Thank you for everyone who watched it. The response was amazing. Yeah, and it got loads of hits and stuff, so thank you very much for anyone who watched it and shared it and liked it and stuff. Today I just wanted to have a quick look at textures using the DreamUV plugin, which you can download for free over on GitHub. There's a link in the description. As far as I can tell, this plugin was created by Luke Bars to make UV unwrapping easier. I think they were working on Half-Life Alyx, which is cool. Yeah, basically it uses like a system called hotspotting with Atlas materials to make UV unwrapping a million times easier. So I just wanted to take a quick look at the plugin, but also how you can kind of make your own materials, which is really cool. Cool, so let's have a quick look at this. So yeah, I've just got a quick, made a shape really quickly with a little bit of geometry. It doesn't really, you can have much more complicated geometry, but things with more square sides, this works best with. Yeah, so essentially what it does is it uses a system called hotspotting. So you access the plugin once you've downloaded it. On the right here, only shows up when you're in edit mode, in case you can't find it. And you've got all these settings here, but this is the thing we're kind of focusing on, this Atlas material bit. And yeah, it's really cool how it works. So essentially what you need is Atlas materials. So the plugin comes with one, but you can kind of make your own, which is what I do. So I'll just import images as planes. Here's a material I made. This one's probably a little bit too busy, but it's a good one to show you as an example. So basically, yeah, what it is a material with these kind of lines drawn on it. And I'll show you why. So essentially what we're going to do is take this material and we're going to add edge loops to it to create faces. And we're going to make the faces along these kind of black lines. And these black lines are where the plugin will kind of tell the edges of the faces to be. So those dark lines kind of just represent where dirt and stuff is. This kind of makes it a lot easier to add that because it's something that I'm often painting in later in Procreate, but this kind of helps you kind of do it in Blender, which is really cool. So then you've got all these different size faces, and then essentially what we'll do is add this material to the objects, and obviously it's done what you would expect, and nothing's lined up and it looks awful. And obviously ordinarily you would have to like line all this up manually, but what's really lovely about this is the plugin will kind of do that for us. So we tell the plugin here that that's what we are looking at and that's what we want to line up, and we can essentially select faces and hit hotspot, and now it will automatically line the faces up with the nearest corresponding sized face on the material here. So very quickly we can kind of just start adding these materials in and then line up to the edges that we want them to line up to, which is wicked, because if you're like me and you hate doing UV unwrapping and you're not Ian Hubert, who seems to be able to do it at a million miles an hour, it makes it much more accessible, and it just means that you can start making your own materials and having fun with it, which is wicked. So yeah, very quickly you can kind of create your own. Like I said, I mean, I think that this material is like a little bit too busy, like these red lines and stuff would be quite obvious that they're being repeated. But yeah, it's really cool. And then obviously you can just control, it's kind of applied as a principal BSDF, so you can then control how metallic it is, and the roughness and yeah, that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just a really quick way of kind of being able to add materials quickly and make things kind of look a lot more interesting. And yeah, I mean, like later on you can, when you get used to it, start adding kind of ambient occlusion and stuff and kind of creating more dirt around these gaps, but it's really wicked. So yeah, I mean, the other thing to look at, I guess, would be how to make your own materials if you've got access to Photoshop or Procreate or anything where you can sort of like do any kind of photo manipulation, because you can take textures from textures.com or whatever, and then kind of add these lines in and start kind of really having a lot of fun with it. So I'll kind of talk you through that. But if that isn't something you can do, then what I'll probably start doing on my Patreon is just adding my Atlas materials as I make them. So you can just kind of download those and have a play. So yeah, we'll have a look quickly at Procreate. Okay, cool. So yeah, a quick look at this in Procreate. I use Procreate just because I have it on my iPad and I like having the Apple Pencil, but you can use kind of any software really where you can draw. So yeah, essentially what I mean, I've got it all in one project, but essentially what you can do is, so as we saw in the other bit, they're like, this is where the lines are. So I just have those kind of as a preset ready to go. And then, yeah, underneath these lines, you can kind of start adding different textures. So all these layers are different textures that I've experimented with, and you can use images, or, you know, you can use your own textures, because I mean, things like Procreate have like really good brushes for those kind of things. You can see just like where I've added just little things and I've kind of experimented, and you know, you can play with the layers, start creating these materials really quickly, which is a lot of fun. And like, it's kind of a little bit of trial and error, but like playing with, you know, where, you know, an area is dark or where the lines are, and you know, sometimes like where these kind of slightly brighter kind of edge bits are, and they can be really interesting as well. And yeah, you can see on like different designs that I've done, like where I've used different materials and the different kinds of effects that you can get using this plugin, which is wicked. So it's super straightforward, but I think the best option is like the best way to kind of learn how to do it is just to experiment and just start playing. But yeah, it's a really kind of freeing part of the process, because you can kind of start blending that idea of kind of like drawn, painted looking anime style stuff and like applying it to your projects. And the other thing I've done as well is taken photographs out and about. So this is a material that I made. I just basically photographed. I was on a train and I just photographed the edges of the table that I was sat at on the train. So these are real metal textures that I just found, and again just kind of added those dark line areas, and then you know, you can add the cuts. And yeah, I've built entire kind of models using or textured entire models using that, just this material alone. So you can really start having fun with it. So yeah, that's DreamUV. Hopefully you guys find that useful. Like I say, it kind of made UV unwrapping a lot easier for me, which is really useful. And I'll make these materials available on my Patreon for anyone who wants to go and subscribe to that. I've only just started doing it, but it's just a way I can be a little bit more bespoke with the content that I'm putting out, so I'm not clogging up feeds on YouTube. So yeah, if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe, and yeah, I'd look forward to kind of seeing what you guys make. If you haven't already used DreamUV before, like send me across your stuff, because I always like seeing people using this stuff better than I can. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and speak soon. Bye.